Hello Year 12. This video is going to describe to you what to expect with your upcoming Module B assessment, which will be looking at Robert Gray. Okay, so as I go through my presentation, follow along with your gold sheet in front of you. First thing you'll notice, this is of course your third task. It's weighted 25%. You'll be producing a critical essay in an incursion. So the date is Friday the 24th at 2 o'clock, which means we are going to start promptly at 2 o'clock. So I'll come back to the details of that in a second. Okay, so this task has been designed to test your understanding of Module B. So awareness of the module, the idea that we're studying a substantial piece of literature, in this case the anthology of Robert Gray, what makes him distinct and what's characteristic of him as an author. Now, on the day you won't know what the question is, but you do know exactly what we're going to be focused on. So we have quoted a line from the rubric. So the question's designed to check your understanding of the module, but specifically pertaining to the idea that composers will portray settings and situations. So we are zooming in on those three discrete words from the whole rubric. So even though you don't know exactly how I'm going to phrase the question, you do know that that is what the question will be on. Okay, so you will need to address in detail the poetry of Robert Gray, but you don't need to address all of the poems. Now, I'm telling you, because it's not a big exam, this is just a little test, I am not going to specify which poem. You will get to pick which poem you address on the day. Now, often I get questions, how many, what's the maximum, what's the minimum? Absolutely 2 is the minimum, but I don't want you to think about them as just discrete poems. Your set text is the anthology, the suite of the 6 poems. So you can pull evidence from any poem you want and think about how they work in cooperation with each other. So to simplify the answer, absolute minimum of 2, but if you're doing 2 and there's evidence from a third, you can still pull that in. So you can show your whole understanding. Now, notice the timing might be a little surprising. So what will happen is you'll have 5 minutes planning time. Now, hopefully we're getting comfortable with that. You know, of course, in the trial and the HSC, there is no such thing as planning time, only reading time. But this is not the exam, this is not the trial. So what will happen is you'll get a box with the question inside it, and during those 5 minutes you can annotate all over it, and then another big empty box where you can plan out your response. After the 5 minutes, we will then say, okay, your writing time starts now, and notice that you've got 45. Now, that's more than you'll have come the trials and the HSC. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier for you, giving you a little less pressure. So in 45 minutes, you'll respond to that question. Okay, so you will be using your NESA numbers. Don't worry if you don't remember them, we have plenty of time to memorize them. So you'll be using your NESA numbers. You cannot take any materials in. So unlike with Module C, where of course you had your Part A with you, nothing can come into the Level 4 or the gym this time. So no palm cards, no notes, no cheat sheets. Additionally, no smartwatches, no phones, or any of those sort of materials. There will be disability provisions provided, so you're going to be in the gym or upstairs on Level 4, and we will run it as close as we can to those sort of NESA-like expectations. Okay, so about how to prepare the drafting process. So you won't know the exact question, even though you know it's about settings and situations. So we want to show you what an example one might look like. So on the page, you'll see that to help you prepare, you're going to be doing a practice test in week 2. Your teachers will talk you through about how that's admitted and things like that. But I want to show you an example. So if, for example, we gave you the line from the module about how the features affect those responding to it, that would tell you, obviously, I'm going to be asking an audience-based question. So here's a sample question. The power of Gray's poetry lies in his ability to stimulate emotional and intellectual responses from his readers. Discuss and make detailed reference to your text. So that's the question that you can respond to in getting your drafts ready for what will happen on the real day. Okay, let's have a look at the marking criteria in front of you. So you're pretty comfortable now with the 20 spread of marks, same bands for what you've seen in the past. For this assessment, we're testing 3 skills. So the first is how well you can answer the question, the second is how well you analyse the text, and the third is how well you can write and compose your response. So looking at dot point number 1, we're looking at how well you can demonstrate an informed understanding of the text portrayal of settings and situations. So even though you don't know the exact words of the question, you really know what I'm asking there. 2 is how well you can show effective, detailed textual analysis. So that is you unpacking, analysing Robert Gray's language choices, forms and features, and how he uses them to communicate meaning. And lastly, it's the same really in every English assignment, and that is your ability to organise your thoughts and compose a response with quality of language, clarity of idea, expression, vocabulary, all those sort of things. So the actual 3 skills are the same, but the descriptors change. So you'll see it's informed and effective down to, say, competent, down to adequate. So really, self-assess against this for your drafts is a good way to check that you're on track. Okay, so lastly, just a few things about how to prepare. The first thing is you need to know your poems. So even though I'm telling you that you can pick what poems you address on the day, you really want to pick the poems that are going to work best for the question. So, and that's big picture too. You need to know all of the poems come the trials and the HSC. Be active in that study. So you could print off clean copies of the poem, redact some of the words with whiteout or delete them, make closed passages, palm cards or flip cards, quiz each other, get a friend to read out the opening line, see if you can end that quote. Be active in that study. Completing past papers is one of the best practices you can do. So have a look at past HSC questions, print them off, give yourself 45 minutes in a room to see what you can produce. The first time you do it, you might do it with 10 palm cards. The second time you do it, you might take 5 of them away and just do it with the 5 harder palm cards. And then hopefully by the third or fourth time you're doing it, you can do it without any assistance. Once you've produced these pieces of work, do some self-assessment, like I said in my last slide, against the marking criteria, but also have a look at what other students have done. In the theatre the other day for short answer workshop, I mentioned the 2019 and 2020 HSC exam booklets. Have a look at what real students did under real exam conditions and how does yours sort of test against them. Be active on the NESA website. Have a look at what the HSC markers in the previous years have said about the Robert Gray responses, what students do well and how we can improve. Engage thoughtfully with the drafting process. Plan, draft, revise, edit, submit it to a friend, a critical friend or somebody you trust to do some peer editing of each other's work, even before you're giving it to your teachers. Read widely. Gray's been on the syllabus since 2019, so by now there's a lot of information out there. Be active with that investigation, learning new ideas, engaging with other people's interpretation of the text. And hopefully that will lead you into building some more vocabulary as well. So as you're engaging with these critical responses, maybe make a few notes down about some new vocabulary words that could help elevate the sophistication of your response. Okay, so I hope this video has made the task clearer. If you have any questions, please go see your English teachers first, and I'm always also very willing to help if you've got any questions. Thanks, Year 12. Study hard, work hard, and good luck.